Hey guys, this is the Gimble and Arns show. For those of you who have been sticking with us for the half an hour that that we delayed going on, thank you very much. Appreciate it. If anyone liked the music that you were listening to for that half an hour, you can go to Waterflame89. Check out Waterflame89 on the YouTube channel. Also, since this is technically our first official broadcasted show since we joined Definitive Esports, a big shout out to Zowie and Antec for supporting Definitive Esports, and I've got some really nice headset, really nice headset now, which is a nice change from iTunes earbuds that just don't quite cut it. So today we're going to be chatting with Derek Travisano. Did I sort of get it close, vaguely?
Yep, that was good.
All right, there we go. Also known as Lgn.Theory. So Derek, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your gaming history, because if I remember correctly, gaming seems to run in the family.
Yeah, I've played video games since I was a little kid. My grandparents play video games, my parents play video games, my brother plays video games. So video games have always been a huge part of what I do, and I mostly play multiplayer games. I'm really into competition and trying to be the best. So I usually tend to play games like Counter-Strike, Dota, StarCraft, very competitive type games.
Now, when you say you tend to focus on competitive games, like and you mentioned Counter-Strike, you mentioned Dota, were you playing? And I guess we could also throw in this case, StarCraft Brood War. I'm too tired. StarCraft Brood War. Were you playing those at a competitive level? Were you trying to go pro with any of the games before StarCraft II?
I never really tried to go pro at any of those games. I just played them. I played them pretty competitively, but never at a pro level. Brood War, I always wanted to be at that pro level, but I knew it was impossible. I just could never catch up. But in StarCraft II, I realized that I could actually, it's a new game, and I have the experience from Brood War, so I can actually start fresh and catch up with all the other gamers.
I gotta ask because I'm curious. When you mentioned team games, you mentioned I've said this now several times. You mentioned Dota and Counter Strike. Did you play with your family, or did you have like a group of friends that you teamed up with?
I really didn't play any computer games with my family. I usually just played Nintendo games with, Super Nintendo, old Nintendo, all those systems. I had a lot of friends in middle school that played Counter-Strike and Dota, and that's how I got into those. And then after playing those for a while, I got really interested in StarCraft Brood War.
And can you tell me a little bit about why StarCraft, how you got into StarCraft II, and why you decided this was the game you were going to try and go pro at or be pro at?
Well, back when StarCraft II was announced, I was going to get the game, but I didn't really plan to get good at the multiplayer. I liked Brood War too much. I thought StarCraft II was going to be too big of a change. But eventually, someone gave me a beta key, and I started playing beta, and I started as Terran, and I was like, wow, the best, like, I was playing against big names on beta and beating them, like people I knew in Brood War, and I was like, wow, I actually have a shot at this game, because these people, nobody knows how to play it yet, so I was able to start from the beginning, and I actually was interested in becoming a competitive player.
And actually, I remember you telling me a story when we did this pre-interview, so I was actually wondering if we might jump to that because it was pretty fantastic.
Okay.
Because you were talking, we talked about in relation to just gaming in general, we talked about location being important. So can you tell us why location was important to you in getting good at games?
Okay, well, I moved to Dalton, Georgia, for high school, and there wasn't a lot of stuff to do there. So I practiced a lot of StarCraft when I was probably like 15 and 16, and I started to play a lot of Brood War and play with my I'd keep connected with a lot of my friends in Arizona where I used to live through Brood War, and that's how I really got into Brood War, and I think I got StarCraft Beta when I was about to be a senior in high school.
Hmm. Well, actually, I mean, that's something else I was gonna ask about. You're now This is your first year in college at Georgia Tech.
Hmm.
Um, what's it been like, sort of transitioning from being a high schooler to a college student with that extra responsibility of being a professional gamer?
Well, now that I'm in college, I have a lot more time to play during like the beginning and middle of the semester, but like right now, I don't have any time to play. In fact, I just got back from a computer science final, which sucked. And but now that I'm in college, like I can actually go compete. I'm in a bigger city, so I can actually go to a lot more tournaments that are nearby, and there's tons of players here. In Dalton, I don't think anybody had even heard of StarCraft. And now that I'm in Atlanta, there's hundreds of players at my school alone.
Well, actually, before I go on, I do want to mention to everybody um, that if you have questions, submit them in the chat. If you haven't registered and don't want to register on Owned, you can also tweet at at Gimble and Arm podcast and send us your questions, and we'll do our best to get them answered. But Derek, tell me a little bit about because now you're talking about all these hundreds of players that you suddenly have available to play with in Atlanta. Tell me about the CSL team there and your involvement with them as well.
Okay, well, Georgia Tech has a really active StarCraft community, and we have a collegiate Star League team. We have a lot of really good players on it. Unfortunately, I'm one of the few Protosses. Actually, I'm the only active Protoss. Um, and then we have a bunch of really good Zerg players. Um, if you've heard of Master Asia, famous Chinese pro gamer, and then there's other players like Masan, Maestro, then our team captain Remix, who plays Terran, and Rain. I'm sorry, I think I forgot Rain. And we all hang out, play StarCraft. We compete in the CSL. I think we went like 15-1 this season. We lost in the playoffs early on, which is unfortunate. But we have a lot of tournaments together, just a lot of stuff. It's really cool. We have a really good community at the college.
Hmm. Do you guys get together like in a physical location to meet, or do you just sort of play across the net?
Both. We meet at least once a week to play. Sometimes more, sometimes. For playing, we don't always meet. We usually just meet to hang out and just talk about StarCraft, watch StarCraft, MLG and stuff. We'll LAN like every once in a while. There's LAN tournaments, and we're all really good friends in real life. So we all like eat lunch together, hang out. So yeah.
Well, so you're part of the CSL team, and then you're also part of Team Legion. This might be a kind of an obvious question to you, but what's the difference in preparation for events or the competition between those two teams that you play for?
Okay. For the Georgia Tech CSL team, since the teams are limited to just college students and college students don't have a lot of time to play, usually the competition that I'm going up against is a lot. It's not as difficult. There are still really good players, but and it's also a less serious environment. It's a lot more for fun and just school pride kind of thing. Where Team Legion, I'm having to play against the very best players, and it's a lot more serious. And I actually have to like prepare for my match and prepare a build, and I really have to focus a lot harder and more seriously for games with Team Legion.
Well, can you, because I managed to skip over how you actually joined Team Legion. Can you tell us about? I know you talked with us about how you had been with a bunch of smaller teams before. Can you tell us a little bit about that story and how you found Legion?
Well, I was teamless for quite a while. I had joined a bunch of small teams, a bunch of teams that started kind of the same way Legion did, but most of them are dead now. Some were really unorganized. I never really got into a very organized team until I eventually got contacted by Daragas, the team's manager, and he was planning on starting a competitive gaming team for the Legion gaming community, which is a pretty awesome community for a bunch of different games you guys should check out. Well, they were planning on starting a competitive team, so they were contacting players who were doing well, high on the ladder, and trying to assemble this team. And that's where I got picked up by them. And Legion, unlike the other teams I bet on, they were organized, they had a plan, and they're really the staff is extremely dedicated, and it's backed by a really great community. And Legion, as you've seen, it started in about October of 2011, and it's grown a ton. We have tons of sponsors now, and it's grown into a pretty great team.
Well, so for some of us who don't have any experience being on a team, what sort of support does a team like Legion provide you? What does it mean to be on a team besides going to tournaments and having the name?
Legion supports me in a lot of ways. The community is one of the biggest supporting factors. It's a giant community. They all support the pro gaming team. They watch all of our games, talk to us, support us. It's really cool. From sponsors, we have quite a few sponsors. Let me pull them up. Let's see. Our big sponsors are Onaj, MaxFrag, Imgur, and Razer. And let's see. Oh, each of them gives us support, and we're starting to build the foundation for our team, getting funds ready to start sending people to tournaments. They're actually starting a Legion gaming house for the players, and they're working on getting that. And then Razer, they supply me with all their gear. All my gear is Razer gear, which is very generous of them. And that's how I get supported by Legion. It's pretty awesome.
Well, one last question here, and then I know that Onim has a couple questions in chat that I want to get asked. But this is, I mean, you're in college, you're studying computer engineering, so this isn't your gaming isn't your only option. But I am sort of curious what it was like being on some of the smaller teams you were with and trying to take that seriously, and then being on Legion and the sort of support they provide, how that changes the environment you're in, the level of how comfortable you feel, in preparing and things like that.
So you're saying like going from one of the teams I used to be on to Legion, like the.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to ask is you mentioned some of the smaller teams that sort of petered out or that you had been on, and Legion is, as you mentioned, is getting these sponsors, is looking to start a team house. You're getting equipment from Razer. Does the prospect of a team house, does the equipment, does that sort of support, how does that factor into your well-being as a player?
Okay. Well, of course, on the smaller teams, they were all up and coming, and they weren't really organized, so I didn't treat it as seriously. I was on the team. I didn't play in a lot of clan wars. I'd play occasionally. I wouldn't really hang out with the team. It wasn't really connected. It was just a tag. And now that I'm with Legion, Legion is really. I hang out with all the players. I hang out with the community. I have tons of practice partners. They're playing clan wars all the time. It's become a lot more serious, and there's also a lot more serious things that come with it, like contracts, sponsors, and it does make me, now I take the game a lot more seriously than I used to, and I have to practice a lot more if I want to succeed, and I also play at higher levels now, so.
Well, so what do you do in a situation where college, exams, for example, since, I mean, we're right in the middle of finals, how do you deal with the responsibility of finals, but also the responsibility of preparing for clan matches or individual showings?
Well, this week I don't have any. I'm having people take my place in Clan Wars. I can't sub for anyone in Clan Wars either. I just don't have time. But yeah, I'm able to just we have I think we have 8 players, 8 sponsored players on Team Legion, and so we have enough players to fill the slots. So whenever I'm not needed, someone else can take my place, which is convenient.
All right. Well, I want to ask. Onim has a couple questions. The first one is wants to know. He wants to know about your build, the build Chung, that you've recently popularized. He was hoping you could elaborate a bit on it. One of the things he was asking about the build is whether it was supposed to be able to take out a lot of the metagame currently.
Um, okay, Onim is my friend Jay, and we're very cheesy in 2v2, and he's referring to a very cheesy rush that we have, and it probably could break the metagame, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep that build a secret for now.
Oh. Well, maybe I will have to mine some replays so I can get a glimpse, see what this is all about, the next revolution. Well, he also wants to know about, and I was hoping that you could tell us a little bit about Seatown Boys in the Brood War days.
I don't know what he's referring to.
He said they also went by the name Homie Dis Chandler. I don't know if I'm getting trolled right now, but if I am, respect.
I don't know what's going on right now.
All right, touche. The other thing I wanted to ask about is and as I say that and go into my question, I completely lose my train of thought. One of the things I'm curious about is a player at your level who basically, as a pro, the ladder doesn't seem to really mean much in terms of gauging, quote-unquote skill. I'm just sort of curious, when you're looking to improve, how do you do it? How do you gauge, because it's not, oh, I go from platinum to diamond or diamond to masters. I mean, you're in terms of Blizzard ladder, you're past the top. So how do you gauge progress, and how do you see where you are?
Well, the main way to improve, well, I don't play a lot of ladder, just because ladder is just never get past 2 base, all in, cheese. So ladder is a good place to take your macro builds to see if they're safe against cheese. But in order to actually improve your game, you really have to have really strong practice partners that you can grind out games with. I play a lot with Team Legion and a lot of my school friends, and you really just have to grind out with people who are better than you or on the same level as you. And also, whenever you lose, you can't leave the game without knowing how you could have won. You have to watch the replay, know why you lost, what could you have done differently, and known why. If you don't know why you lost, then you can't really improve and be able to win the next time you face the same scenario.
Well, so going back, so I want to sort of bring 2 ideas together, and the first one is college, and the second one is what you're talking about, improving and progress. When you have a situation like right now, when you've got the finals and it's difficult to play a lot, and you have to pass off your spot to other members of the team, is it difficult in situations like that to sort of stay on your game? Or what do you do to stay on your game?
Let's see, my skill in the game, I feel that it doesn't really affect me if I only take off like a week of time or something. It's the fact that in StarCraft II, like every couple days, strategy changes. It's such a new game. You have to keep up with the current metagame. That's how you succeed in StarCraft II right now. You have to be caught up with the current strategies, what everyone else is doing, and know all the recent cheese builds you have to prepare for. And it makes it hard to metagame wise. It's hard to keep up with when I'm busy with school. But like speed wise, build wise, mechanics wise, I feel that doesn't really affect me.
And I know, if I remember correctly, you also watch a lot of streams of other players. Is that correct?
Yeah. I watch Protoss and Terran streams. I don't really watch any Zerg streams. The main streams that I watch are Hongun. I forget what team he's on now, but Hongun's stream and OGS Vines' stream. I watch those streams a lot. They're my two favorite streamers.
Well, so help me understand what about their play is so useful to watch.
um, well, I'll start with Vines. I like to watch Vines because he's very good at killing his opponent. Um, he he knows when his opponent's weak. He'll play the game out as soon as he knows that they're on the back foot. He'll kill them, and it helps me really see like a lot of weaknesses that I don't realize when I'm playing because I don't attack at those times or I don't pressure at those times, and he's really good at that. And for watching Hongun stream, I feel Hongun is a lot better than Vines. He's if you watch Vines, or not Vines, sorry. If you watch Hongun, you can see a lot of the little things he does that a lot of other players don't do because they're just not on his level. He does a lot of little things to take control of the game. You'll see him able to do extremely greedy builds and all these extremely greedy timings and fast third bases and get away with it easily because he's constantly scouting, he's constantly putting pressure, even though he has no units, he'll pressure his opponent. He plays with his opponent's heads, and it's hard to explain, but if you watch him a lot, you can really tell how he's picking his opponent to pieces.
And so I'm sort of curious because with the streams you're watching first person, do you find it more beneficial to, if you have the choice, to look at a first person stream of say Hongun or a replay of Hongun? Would it make a difference?
I think the replay would be more beneficial. Just because you can see you can see the clock, you can go back and forth, you can see the production tab, the exact build order. And also in replay, you can go to the first person view inside the replay and see what's up. So I would rather have the replay. Maybe I should email him and ask for a replay.
You never know. Yeah, there you go. Well, next thing I was hoping we could talk about is you're someone who's had a lot of gaming experience, both in StarCraft but also outside of StarCraft. What are some memorable moments in gaming? And if you want to focus on StarCraft, that's fine, or another game as well. But what's like a big memory for you that sticks out, and why?
Okay. Not StarCraft related. Probably in video gaming, I have a lot of memories playing the Zelda series. I used to play. My grandpa used to play a lot of Zelda, and my mom plays Zelda, and it's a really fun game. And just beating the Zelda games for the first time is such a great feeling, and I still play over them. And StarCraft-wise, the best moment I've ever had in StarCraft, when I was about 14, I started getting wrecked by this Zerg player in Brood War, and I could never beat him. I was like D or D plus when I was 14 on the Kpop server, and he was like, I don't know, B rank or something, and he just smashed me all the time. And eventually, he sort of became like my mentor, and I think, let's see, I was 16 or 17, and I played him on Destination, Kpop Destination, if any of you guys remember that map, in a PvZ. And the game was 58 minutes long, and the map was completely mined out. And it was about a 15-minute battle with no gather, just the units he had, and I finally beat him after like many years. And that's the one thing about gaming I could ever forget is beating him in StarCraft. It was the first time I beat him, and he was a B rank, so I felt extremely proud. B rank, I feel, is a lot better accomplishment than StarCraft II Grandmaster. I never got that high, unfortunately. But yeah, that's my best moment in gaming.
I know that StarCraft II is a lot younger. Is there any moment that even comes close in StarCraft II for you?
Not yet. I've had some pretty good moments holding cheese on the ladder, but nothing really compares.
Well, do you have an example of a good moment of holding cheese that sticks out?
Well, I'm pretty greedy, so Terrans like to all in me a lot. Um, so there's been a lot of cases where I've had to pull all my probes to fight all their SCVs, and I've come out on top. And pretty much all those moments are pretty awesome feeling.
Fair enough. Oh, that was is there anything since you started playing StarCraft, I guess really, um, any big aha moments that you had um, in your learning?
Hmm. Since StarCraft II, I'm not really sure. I always have little moments when I see replays and other players play. They'll do something that I'd never thought of, like just certain timing attacks when they're cutting workers, and I'll be like, "Oh, that really makes sense. Why didn't I do that before?" I've had no real like crazy breakthroughs that all of a sudden made me awesome in StarCraft II. I had some of those in Brood War, like just simple things like saturate your workers, don't have all 60 of your workers on one base, um, little things like that.
Um, Now that we've been StarCraft Two has been out for a couple years. Um, you mentioned that it's still you think it's still pretty early. I'm just sort of curious as to how how developed do you think the game is? Are we still in a really early state, or is it sort of starting to be fleshed out a little bit?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yep. Curious is to sorry, as I'm talking, I'm trying to make sure I don't get booted from this call.
Yeah, I was
Um,
checking that too.
I don't see it. Well, if I get booted, then I'll pop right back in. Um, Tell me, as someone who's had a chance to play at the high, or is well, not has a chance, but is playing at the highest level, what's your sort of take on the development of the metagame as a whole? Have we sort of started to figure out now how to play, or are we still sort of fumbling?
I think we're at those beginning stages of figuring out how to play. And Brood War bases, like you'd have like 4 or 5 bases in a competitive match, like from each player. But for the past like since StarCraft 2's came out, it started out one base versus one base, one base, one base. Started evolving to two base versus two base. It got a little bit macro for a while, but then turned back to two base versus two base. And then finally like games are at least getting to three bases no matter what, almost every time, which is pretty awesome. People are starting to figure out how to hold all these little timings, how to hold all the two base, one base stuff. Um, and I think it's the beginning of figuring out how to play. I think some of the people who've led that is Stefano. He's really showing us how to play macro Zerg and hold everything. And also Parting. I think Parting's one of the big macro players for Protoss. And a lot of the recent Code S players, I think, are really the people that are pushing StarCraft into its next stage.
Hmm. In a minute, I want to go to a break, but I have two last questions because when we come back, I wanted to spend some time sort of asking you about non-gamer related things, get to figure out what you find out what your hobbies are. Um, but just to finish up your gaming career, I'm curious one if there's what the hardest from your perspective and your experience, what the hardest part of being a professional gamer is, and then second, if there's anything that you think that the audience, myself and everyone watching, and the general community doesn't get or doesn't understand, doesn't know about the life of a pro gamer, or a
Um,
misconception.
okay. Well, from personally, the hardest part of being a gamer for me is school. I have to balance out school with my playing, which can be extremely hard because school isn't that fun. um, Next year should be fun. I just gotta get all these core classes out of the way, which everybody hates those. But yeah, balancing school with gaming is really hard. Um, and misconceptions, I'm not really sure. I'm I'm not I haven't really been considered pro for very long. I'm recently contracted, so yep.
I mean, well, okay, that's true. I guess, I mean, you haven't technically been a pro very long, but you've been a player at the highest level, and you've been with other small. You have been with other smaller teams for a little bit, and you've been with Legion since its beginning. Um, I guess maybe what I was trying to get at was I was curious if sometimes it seems like, at least from a fellow redditor, fellow TLer perspective, it seems like everyone expects teams and players expects teams to have expects that or believes that teams have a lot of money at their disposal, or believes that only the the best players are those who are at the MLGs and the GSLs, and everyone else isn't trying hard enough, or isn't good enough, or So I guess what I'm really thinking of is I remember talking to Vile Chance a couple months ago, and he was making a very strong argument um, about about how you know he puts in a lot of time and plays it at a high level, but he feels like the system is set up, that people don't realize that the way the system currently is set up is really difficult to break in. So that you can have good results, but if you don't make a strong showing at an MLG or an IPL, people aren't going to remember you. People don't care, but the audience often doesn't recognize that. So I don't know if you had any of those similar feelings, or had any of those same thoughts, or opposite.
Actually, I can agree with a lot of that. Like for Vile, Team Vile, if those guys were full time, they would be top of the scene. Like I think most of them are in college or in school, like Illusion and some of the other players, and those guys are sick good. Like if they had time to practice like on a Korean schedule or a programmer schedule, they would be beating the best players, and they already do beat the best players. Like they're already taking out big names. People on Legion are taking out big names. I went. The system isn't 100% set up. It is hard to make a name for yourself if you don't do well at an MLG or break into the scene. That's if you break into the scene, like you're in it. Like if you do well at one MLG, everybody knows your name, and it's a good way to get started. But you do have to be pretty good to do well at an MLG. Like to do that, you actually have to have skill. Um, and there are like all the pro gamers, they're all extremely good, and there are a lot of people that if they have more time would also be pro gamers, but they just don't have the time to fully get their names out there to go to all these emojis and stuff. And what else was I gonna say? I had a good point, but I just forgot it. Oh yeah, and like there are names like pros that aren't exactly pro level, but they're famous. That um, Vile players would probably be they would be a better player to take their spot, but since the other person's famous, they get invited instead and stuff. It's I mean, it's just the way it works. But if you're really good, I think you can still break into the scene.
So is that for you personally? Is that your approach? Is that the way I'm going to build? Are you just saying the way I'm going to build a name for myself is practicing really hard and showing these good results, and you believe that's going to be enough to get you where you want to be?
Um, yeah, I think showing good results is definitely enough to get you to where you want to be. It's just a little bit harder if your name isn't already out there.
All right, that makes sense. That is fair. Um, we're a little bit over, but it's okay. So we're gonna go for a break really quick, probably about a 2-3 minute break, depending. We'll have a little music, and then after we give Theory here a chance to to rest his voice for a second, we'll come back and talk to him about hobbies and activities. Yay, we are back. Fantastic. All right. So in the pre-interview we did a couple days ago with Theory, I was asking about activities and hobbies, and there is a long list. So we're gonna get to that because there's everything from musical instruments to Osu to what else we got? DDR comes up. Apparently, Theory, you have to tell us a little bit about your love for DDR. But before that, real quick, I wanted to quickly jump to college. I was curious how you got into computer engineering and if you what you plan to do, or if you have a plan for what you want to do with your degree after college.
Um, well, I haven't really thought a lot about the future. I remember back when I was younger, I wanted to become a lot of different things. I was really interested in being a doctor for a while, but then I kind of dropped that. And I didn't really sign up for my major until I applied for college. And I was just like, what major sounds cool? And I was like, computer engineering, that sounds good. But I think it's the right major for me. I like computers, and I like programming, and I like math and science, some fields of it. Um, so I'm a computer engineering major, but I have no idea what I'm gonna do after college. I haven't really decided yet.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's you're still in your first year, so there's quite a lot of time. Um, all right, all right. We get to jump to activities and hobbies. I'm just gonna start off with guitar because I'm a fellow guitar player, so I love to talk about guitar. Tell us about your experience with guitar, how you got into it, what styles you play, favorite music, a favorite song.
Okay. Well, I started playing guitar when I was pretty young. I think like 9 or 10. I started taking lessons. I'm not that great. I'm okay. I just play for fun. I started playing because my dad plays. He's a really good guitar player, and the styles I play a lot of different styles. I play acoustic and electric. I'll go from playing songs like Metallica songs that are hard and fast to playing slow, sissy songs on the acoustic. Wide range of styles that I play. And you said favorite music and stuff?
Well, yeah, I guess one of the things I was curious though is was guitar sort of a solo thing for you? Did you have a band? And what about now in college? Do you still get to practice a lot?
Um, it was mostly either solo thing or me and my dad playing. In college, I don't play that much, like only like once a week, sadly. Not nearly as much as I used to. And yeah, it's pretty much just been a solo thing or me and my dad.
Hmm. Um, and what about DDR? How did you find DDR and why do you play so much?
Um, well, I had a friend named I had a friend named Kevin in middle school. Um, he was better than me at everything, including StarCraft, including DDR, and I always wanted to be as good as him at everything. I finally surpassed him in StarCraft, not DDR yet. Well, I started playing DDR with him when I was um, like 12, and I still play. It's a lot of fun. I don't know what else I can talk about it.
I
I'm
mean,
not that great.
do you I don't know if there are actually any other local competitions for DDR or anything like that in the area that you could compete in?
There probably are, but I would get destroyed probably. I wouldn't go to any competitions. I just play for fun.
Well, let's see. So we got DDR, we got guitar, we have StarCraft. What other Asian thing can I ask you about? Piano. Do you play piano?
I don't play piano. My mom and brother play piano, and a lot of my friends play piano. I've always wanted to play piano. After college, after everything, if I ever need a new hobby, that would be what I want to learn is piano. It's a pretty great instrument.
I mean, if you got piano, then I think between piano, DDR, guitar, and StarCraft, you could apply for being an honorary Asian, and I think you'd probably get accepted. Um,
Um,
what about sports? Was it you said you play a lot of video games? Was it just video games, or were you also a sports person? Are a sports person?
um, in high school, I played football in high school. That took a lot of time out of my gaming. Um, that's the most athletic thing I did. I played for 4 years. I played wide receiver. And I also play ping pong. That's pretty athletic. Also, can I can put that on my application for being an honorary Asian.
True. All right. Well, I want to ask you about ping pong, but before that, do you still play football, or are you even like intramural team or anything like that in college?
Um, Not right now. I might do intramurals later. But right now I'm too lazy. I don't. Right now I don't really play any sports. I just do school, StarCraft, that kind of stuff.
All right. So what about you mentioned ping pong a second ago. That's a fairly unusual sport to get interested in. How did you find it?
Um, in When I was about a freshman in high school, I started one of my good friends played ping pong, and I started playing with him. And uh, also, my uncle is a really good ping pong player, so I play with my one of my uncles and my friend Steven all the time. And I started I started getting playing that a lot. I never really got that great, but I'm pretty good. I can keep up with people.
Nice. Do you still play, or is that sort of a thing of the past?
um, every once in a while, I'll get together with some friends at Georgia Tech or some ping pong players, and I'll play.
Very nice. Oh, reminder. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Um, everyone who's listening, if you have questions for Theory, whether it's about hobbies and uh, interests, or it's about his pro gaming career, put them in the chat or tweet us at Gimble and Arm Podcasts. And if you do that, we'll do our best to get them answered ASAP. Um, but before that, oh, actually, I want to ask. This is sort of a semi shot in the dark. You don't play Osu by chance, do you?
Um, I do play Osu. I wouldn't consider myself very good. Osu is one of the more frustrating things I do. If I really just want to inflict pain on myself, I'll hop on Osu. And if you guys don't know what Osu is, it's kind of like Dance Dance Revolution, but with the mouse, except 5,000 times as hard. Um, One thing I'll admit that I'm pretty good at is Stepmania, which is DDR for the keyboard. Like, I'm
Oh,
ridiculously awesome at that. But then when it comes to Osu, I'm the worst. I play it, but I don't know.
how'd you uh, how'd you find Osu and Stepmania? Just like from friends, or?
Stepmania, I don't remember how I found it. I played DDR, so I eventually got into Stepmania and started playing it. And Osu, I have a lot of friends from Team FLC. They're a StarCraft team, and they all played Osu, so I started playing with them and getting wrecked by them, and that's how I got into Osu.
It's a good introduction. Huh. Well, I was actually kind of curious about Stepmania, just because I don't know. I tried it a couple of times and it was way out of my league. So, but it makes sense that if you play DDR well, it would sort of be a natural fit. Um, well, what about sort of pulling back from games for a second? Actually, going back to games and then pulling away.
Okay.
Do you play other video games? Other games besides StarCraft? Like, and well, you said Dota and Counter Strike. Um, any single player games or mostly purely competitive?
Right now, I really the only game I play every day is probably StarCraft and Osu, which I don't know. And Dota and Counter Strike I'll play occasionally, not as much as I want to. Over the summer I'll probably play both of them every day. Single player wise, I used to play a lot, but not so much anymore. I watch my brother play a lot of games, so that's how I know all about Assassin's Creed, Halo, all these single player games because I watch my brother beat them.
Oh, okay.
Um, And over the summer, the single player games that I will play are all the Mega Mans and Zeldas, and I'll probably whip out my Super Nintendo and play a lot of old games on it.
Retro. I like it. I
Yep.
like it. All right. I want to hit you with the big four. Big four now: music, literature, movies, and food. Let's start with music. What do you listen to?
Music. I listen to pretty much everything except for rap, and not really any country. I have to say my favorite genre is probably classic rock. Um, I like Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. Little harder rock, I like Metallica and Judas Priest. And then um, I also like K-pop. Um, my friends have gotten me into K-pop. Um, quite the opposite of Led Zeppelin. Uh,
All right. Well, so
um,
so well, mine. I mean, unfortunately, I do. I have a lot of friends who love Metallica and Zeppelin and the Beatles, but my knowledge is pretty scarce there, at least for now. So I can't quiz you about that. I can ask you about K-pop. That is something that I
okay.
can ask. So what do you listen to? Favorite bands, favorite groups, favorite songs?
Um, well, I listen to K-pop radio mostly, so I don't know all the names of songs. But what I do have on iTunes, let me pull it up. Shameless. Let's see. I have a lot of SNSD, Girls' Generation, Tiara, IU. I have most of their songs.
Solid choices. A man with good taste.
Thank you.
Um, well, we've hit music. At least touched on that briefly. Let's go to literature. Do you read a lot?
Um, since college, I haven't read anything that I haven't been required to read. I haven't really had the time for it.
Yep, know
I,
that feeling.
I do enjoy reading though.
Hmm.
I have to say my favorite book of all time is 1984.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's
Why?
by George Orwell. It's just it's just a fantastic book. It's really well written. It really shows how society could become, and it's one of those. I don't know if I'm sure most everyone's read it, but it's one of those books. It's like building up to have this happy ending, and it just crushes it. Um, and it's really needed for that type of story. Like those stories can't have happy endings. Like 1984, just the basis, the just the setting of the story, it can't have a happy ending, and I really like the way it ends.
Hmm. It's fair. Any other big works besides 1984 that you really enjoyed and would
um,
recommend?
let me pull up my Facebook. I think I have books on there. 1984 is the huge one that comes to mind. I like The Lord of the Rings a lot. My favorite movie series, definitely. I haven't gotten through all the books. I've really only read Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers when I was younger.
Hmm.
Um, Also, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What's by Ken Ken Casey? I think. I forget. I think that's
I
his
think
name.
so.
That's one of my favorite books.
Well, same question for 1984. What's so great about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
um, I don't know. That one's a little bit harder. 1984, I think, deserves a lot more respect. But One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is really good just because it takes on an interesting setting with a leader, a figure who takes leadership, and just shows how people will follow them.
Hmm.
I don't really want to ruin much of the book. You should read it. It's a good book.
Okay. I'll
It's
give it
in
a
a
look.
mental institution.
Hmm. This is promising. This is promising. One of my favorite books is also set in a mental institution, so it's a good setting. K-Pax was another one, which I think um, I remember looking at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and saying I really should probably read this. So there you go. Theory has said it's a good book. I will get on it. I'll let you know. We can chat about it sometime. Um, we've hit music. We've hit movie. We haven't hit movies. We need to hit movies. You said Lord of the Rings. Which of the three is your favorite?
Okay. That's the hardest question of this whole interview. There really isn't. I can't decide which movie is the greatest.
Hey, that's
Return of the King is really good.
mm-hmm.
That one's really great. It beautifully wraps up the series. Two Towers is extremely good. It keeps you hooked the entire way through. Really suspenseful.
True.
And the Fellowship of the Ring is just the perfect introduction. Brings you into the world of Lord of the Rings. I can't really decide which one's the best. It's too hard. Too hard of a question.
There isn't even one that's a little bit better than the others?
I don't know. Maybe Return of the King don't if you don't count the extended editions. If you count the extended editions, then they're all the same, about the same level.
Um. All right. Well, what about outside of Lord of the Rings? Is there another movie series that you love, or another movie that you love, or is it just like Lord of the Rings stands way above everything else?
I like a lot of movies that mess with your head or just movies like I like Inception. I like I'm trying to think of some movies. Inception, Fight Club, Memento, movies of that nature. I also enjoy the Star Wars series a lot. Not really, maybe episodes. The third episode that came out, and then the old series. I think those are probably the only Star Wars I care about. And funny movies. I like Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. It's a pretty fantastic movie. And Black Dynamite. If you haven't seen it or heard of it, you definitely need to look it up.
All right. All right, we are coming up on the end here, so I want to sneak in food real quick, and then we'll do shoutouts.
Okay.
Favorite. What's the best way to ask this? Let's start with favorite. Favorite. Uh, ooh. I keep wanting to say favorite food group, but favorite kind of food, like favorite regional food, and then the specific food itself.
Okay. Let's see. I really like Chinese food. That's up there. And I also like just Southern foods. I'm from the South, so I could say my favorite foods from both probably.
Give us both.
Okay. Chinese food. I don't know. Pretty much everything in Chinese food is pretty fantastic. And in Chinese food, you don't really eat anything by itself, so I don't know what I could say is my favorite. Um, Maybe General Tso's chicken, rice, vegetables. That's probably the best. And then for Southern food, just anything my mom makes, fried chicken, just all that stuff. I also like Italian food.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that. We eat a lot of Italian food. My last name's Italian, Travisano. So I eat a lot of spaghetti and lasagna and stuff.
Is there any food you can't stand?
I'm not a big fan of Mexican food. I used to like Mexican food a lot, but I grew up in Chandler, Arizona. So I kind of got sick of it after a while. Because I ate it a lot when I was a kid.
All right. And if there was one food, like a single food that or is there a single food that you could just eat forever, never get sick
Um,
of it?
I don't know about food, but definitely I can eat gummy worms till I die. I don't know. I'm just addicted to gummy worms for some reason.
All right. That settles it. The next big tournament you win, your fans are gonna have to get you gummy worms. We'll just shower you with gummy worms in celebration.
That would
It'll
be
be
pretty
glorious.
awesome.
All right. Oh, Theory, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shout outs. Is there any shout outs you'd like to do?
Okay, there's a lot of shoutouts. Okay, the entire Georgia Tech CSL team and players. Rain, Masan, Remix, Master Asia. Oh my gosh, Maestro. I don't want to forget anyone. Echichi, Onim, who's been trolling this chat. I've noticed. And all the other Georgia Tech players I missed. My family. My mom, dad, my brother David, and uh, I'm trying to think. Everyone that I know, just shout out. Hi, Team Legion, the Legion gaming community. How can I forget that? Shout out to the Legion gaming community. Without them, I wouldn't be here right now. And Team FLC, I'm good friends with them. Shout out to Team FLC. And yep, friends at
And
home.
how can people follow you, or what's the best way for people to keep up with you?
Um, you can follow me through the Legion, the Team Legion gaming website and community. Google the Legion gaming community, find that. You can watch my stream. I won't be active this week, but starting when summer break starts, I'll be streaming probably every day. Um, and that's at Twitch TV/Theory SC2. Um, I have a Twitter. I don't really check it or anything. I just have it. You can follow that, I guess. And but yeah, probably the best way is my stream. Come by my stream. I'll answer any questions about strategy. I interact with the chat. And or join the Legion gaming community, and I hang out there with everyone. Yep.
Wonderful. Well, Derek, thank you so much again. It's been fantastic. It's been a really, really quick hour. But you know, Gimble, who's also in the background here doing tech, we wish you great success in the next couple of months. Oh, sounds like Gimble might be coming on. Um, for next week, though, for anyone wanting to get ahead and find out who we're talking to next week, um, it's not 100% confirmed. So do check our Twitter and look out for a Reddit post. But we're trying to get Tempo on. We're trying to shore up the date with him, make sure next week works. 2 weeks from now, we will be talking with Kevin Knock, formerly known as Cat's Pajamas. So that's definitely settled, and we're pretty sure we'll be talking with Tempo next week. But again, for the final call, check our Twitter. You can also check my Twitter. It's under my name. That's also another way to do it, and I'll let you know. But again, that does it for us this week. And follow Theory. Check his stream. He's a wonderful player, and I'm really glad we got a chance to talk with you. So thank you so much. I said it like 7 times, but I am really grateful that we got you on and we had a chance to really sit down and get to know you a little bit. So, especially right after your exam, you're amazing.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be on here. I don't know if are you guys in a rush?
No.
I think the chat is begging to ask questions.
Whoop. Oh, you know what the problem is with that? I apologize, everyone. Is my chat didn't my chat stopped about halfway, and I didn't realize it was still going. So, thank you. Yes, user questions. I'll get it together eventually, guys. Submit them. I'm gonna go through and try and look at a couple of the ones that have already been posted. Um, oh, from Dr. Manhattan Theory. Are you? I know you're in college right now, but are you Would you consider going to Korea if that were made available to you?
Um, I definitely consider it. I mean, that'd be like a dream come true. I'd have to find time to do that. Um, I haven't really found if I do, I don't know when it would be. I'd have to settle into college a little bit more first. Maybe take a year off if I can get sponsored to go to Korea. First, I have to show more results if I'm gonna go to Korea. I have to be on top of the foreign scene. And so hopefully one day that will happen. And yep.
All right. I do want to say, since it was asked, I am I'm technically American, but I still have Korean blood in me. So yes, food is a really important topic. There is nothing more important than food. And right now, since I get to ask questions, I did kind of co-opt that. Sorry, guys. Another question here as I look through. Tell me, what's your opinion? Cake or pie?
Cake.
Cake. There we go. He's a cake man. Um, Sorry, I'm reading through some of Onim's questions here. I'm trying to decide which ones I actually want to ask. I don't know. I don't know what Onim clarify for me about what you mean by is he based.
Okay, don't ask that question.
Okay, enough. Guys, if you have any more, Onim, fair enough, Onim. If you have any more questions, keep submitting them. I'm trying to go through all these and get them asked because I kept asking you guys to submit them, and then I didn't actually update my chat, so I was missing a bunch of them. Well, while we're looking, and I'm going through these real quick, Theory, your favorite Pokemon?
Huh. That's a really tough one. Oh yeah, that's one thing I do. I play Pokemon. I played competitive Pokemon for DS. Uh, Favorite looks wise, that's a hard question. Probably have to go with the generic Charizard for favorite Pokemon, just because that was my favorite as a kid. For competitive play, my favorite Pokemon is Swampert, the evolved form of Mudkip.
Touche. Touche. Uh, well, I probably last question here. Last question. Um, Sorry, I'm getting caught up because people are asking about Harry. I was going to ask a completely different question. Um, who is you mentioned Hongun, you mentioned Violet, and Shade7 is just asking sort of who's your favorite StarCraft II player? Not counting yourself.
My favorite StarCraft II player is Kirikaki, but I haven't seen him. He hasn't been competing. He was definitely my favorite StarCraft player. I've gotten to meet him twice. I've talked to him. He's a really awesome guy. To watch, in in the Korean gaming scene, I like my favorite gamers are definitely MC. I like to watch MC. I like Vines. I like Parting. I like 4GG. He's a respectable Terran on my terms. And those are probably my favorite players, yeah.
Legit. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on or that you're looking at chat and you just really feel compelled to answer?
Okay. I only got the most recent things out of the chat because I just figured out how to open it up.
All good.
Oh, shout out to my Dalton fans in Dalton, Georgia. Okay, ask about the team who knocked me out. My friend Kudo and his partner Richard knocked me out of a 2v2 tournament that I was predicted to win, and they want me to point that out.
Good guy theory.
What
Well,
else?
I mean,
Okay.
just probably to close real quick. Is there? I guess I was gonna ask a more general question, but I think one question came to mind that I think we can close with, and that is, Um, looking in 2012, what is the goal you set yourself as a gamer that you want to
Okay.
accomplish?
Well, break starts next week. So over the summer, I'm gonna be attending Dalton State College probably for summer classes, which should be really easy. So I'll have a lot of time to play StarCraft, and I'll be playing probably like 6 to 8 hours of StarCraft every day to get better. And I'm already taking games off really good players, but by the end of the summer, I really want to be like beating them. Like they can't beat me. Like I don't split games anymore. I really just want to be top of North America first.
Sounds like a good goal. Well, we will. And you said you're gonna be streaming almost every day. You think over the summer?
I'll try to, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to follow your progress. Very cool. All right, guys. Sorry about the little error there with chat and not asking all those questions. And thanks Theory for catching that. All right, guys. We are now wrapping up. Again, next week we're looking to get tempo. We're trying to finalize everything, and so we'll let you know whether what the final result is probably in a couple days. But we do know that in 2 weeks from now we will be talking with Kevin Knock, formerly known as Cat's Pajamas, and then after that we're either going to be talking with probably another member of Legion, or we may be talking with the band Viva La Dirt League, depending on how their schedule works out. So that's sort of an idea of what we got coming up. As always, you can follow what we do and keep up with us on Definitive Esports or our Twitter at Gimble and Arm Podcast. And with that, I think we're done. It is Gimble and Arn, not podcast. That would be our Twitter, just Gimble and Arn. Yeah. Flawless. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening and bearing with me. And Theory, again, thank you for being so accommodating, sticking with us, and just being a fantastic interviewee.
Oh no, thank you for having me on here. It's really an honor to be on here. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we out.